It was a calm, gentle morning as the first golden rays of the sun caressed a tranquil field. There, near a sparkling lake, a mother duck sat in her cozy nest, warming the eggs she had so carefully laid. The lake was a magical place. The water reflected pastel shades of blue and lilac, and the clouds moved slowly, like cotton pillows. Tiny, colorful dragonflies danced in the air, and the wind carried a serene melody, like a lullaby. One by one, the eggs began to rock. Crick, crick, crick. The shells opened, and out emerged beautiful golden ducklings, fluffy and smiling, all with soft feathers and eyes bright with curiosity. The mother duck smiled, delighted. "Welcome, my little ones," she said tenderly, gathering them under her wings. But deep in the nest, there still remained a different egg. It was larger than the others and had a grayish color, which didn't seem to match the golden glow of its siblings. The newly hatched ducklings whispered amongst themselves, "This egg looks strange. Will someone different from us be born?" The mother duck, however, simply hugged them calmly and replied, "All my chicks are special. Let's wait patiently. Each one has its own time." And so, under the gentle warmth of the morning, the large gray egg remained there, rocking slowly, as if it held within it a magical secret about to awaken. The sun had already risen high in the sky, illuminating the lake with silvery reflections that danced like stars on the water. Mother Duck stood patiently over the last egg, waiting for the right moment. Suddenly, a soft crack was heard. Crick, crick, crick. The large gray egg began to crack. The shells slowly opened until a duckling emerged unlike any other. He had soft feathers, but not golden like his siblings. They were gray and a little disheveled, as if painted with rain clouds. His eyes, however, were large and full of sweetness, reflecting a shy, dreamy light. Mother Duck looked at him with immediate affection and said, "Welcome to the world, my little one. You are a part of my heart, too." But the other ducklings were confused. "He doesn't look like us. Why are his feathers different? Can he play like us?" The gray duckling lowered his head, feeling embarrassed, but the mother duck cradled him under her wings, ensuring everyone was welcomed. Each one has its own beauty, my dears. Time will tell. At that moment, a gentle breeze blew across the lake, making the wildflowers sway and the dragonflies shimmer in the air, as if nature itself were welcoming the unusual duckling. Even though he was shy, he looked around and saw the world for the first time, the pastel-colored sky, the calm water, and the countryside teeming with life. Everything seemed magical and mysterious, as if fate were keeping a special secret for him. The next day dawned softly, with the sky painted in shades of peach and lavender. The pond sparkled like a magic mirror, and the mother duck called her ducklings for their first adventure outside the nest. "Come on, my little ones, it's time to learn to swim," she said, her voice calm and sweet. One by one, the golden ducklings jumped excitedly into the water, scattering sparkling droplets like shards of crystal. They laughed, played, and flapped their wings with joy. The gray duckling hesitated. He looked at the water and felt his heart race. "What if I can't? What if I'm too different to swim? He thought softly. The mother duck approached and encouraged. Trust yourself, my little one. The water is a friend to us all. Carefully, he stepped into the pond, first one foot, then the other, and soon his entire body was floating. To his surprise, he swam as well as his brothers, perhaps even better. His gray feathers gleamed in the reflected light as if made of liquid silver. The brothers watched, still astonished. He swims perfectly. Maybe he's not so different after all. But when the games began, the golden ducklings huddled together, leaving their gray brother aside. He tried to smile, but inside he felt a pang of loneliness. Meanwhile, dragonflies flew over the pond, creating patterns in the air, as if to cheer him up. A blue butterfly landed on his little head, and the gray duckling smiled shyly, finding solace in nature's small gestures. That morning, he discovered he could swim, but he also realized that his difference made him the target of curious stares. The days passed gently, and the field around the lake filled with color. Pink flowers opened like little smiles, and the wind carried the sweet scent of daisies. It was a magical place, where each dawn seemed painted with dream brushes. The golden ducklings played in groups, running through the soft grass and diving together in the water. The gray duckling followed them hopefully, but was often left aside. "You're so big," one said. "Your feathers don't shine like ours," another commented. He tried to laugh with them, but his heart sank. Whenever he found himself alone, he walked slowly to the edge of the lake, where the reflection in the water revealed his different image. "Why don't I look like my brothers?" he thought sadly. "Will I never find someone like me?" The mother duck, sensing his loneliness, approached and wrapped her arms around him tenderly. "My dear, don't let comparisons sadden your heart. The world is vast, and you will find your place." His mother's words were like a warm blanket, but the ducklings still felt the weight of difference. One night, as the moon slowly rose in the sky and spread silvery light over the lake, he watched the moon's reflection next to his own gray reflection. The moon, too, was different from the sun, but it illuminated the world with a unique beauty. The duckling sighed, letting the wind carry his silent wish to find someone who understood him, someone who could see his hidden beauty. Summer was advancing, and the fields were filled with vivid colors. Lilac butterflies danced over the flowers, and the lake sparkled in the soft afternoon sun. Despite the beauty around him, the gray duckling felt his heart growing heavier. One day, while playing near the shore, he heard some animals whispering, "Look, what a strange little duckling. He doesn't fit in with the others." The duckling lowered his head, feeling that perhaps there was no place for him there. Even with all his mother's love, his soul longed for something more, to find a space where he could be accepted as he was. That night, when the sky was filled with soft stars like little beacons of dreams, he made a decision. He approached the mother duck, who was gathered with the other ducklings, and whispered, "Mommy, I think I need to go. I need to find out who I really am." The mother, with tears of tenderness in her eyes, kissed his little gray head. "My son, follow your heart. The world may be big, but it also holds enchanting surprises. Remember, you are special, even if you can't see it yet." With timid steps, the gray duckling set off. The soft grass caressed his paws, and the night wind lulled his thoughts. Despite the sadness of leaving, there was also a breath of courage within him. As he walked, fireflies began to light up around him, forming a path of golden light. It was as if the entire universe were guiding his steps to a magical destination. On that silent night, the duckling began his journey, a journey in search of acceptance, friendship, and the hidden beauty that waited to shine. The little gray duck walked through fields full of flowers that swayed as if saying good morning with each step. The sky, tinged with soft blue and gold, seemed to embrace the little traveler. Soon he encountered a group of colorful butterflies dancing in the air. They circled and landed on tiny white daisies. "Hello, little gray duck, where are you going?" they asked, in voices as light as bells. "I'm not sure," he replied. "I'm looking for a place where I can be accepted as I am." The butterflies smiled and said, "Keep walking. The path always reveals surprises." The little duck thanked them and continued, his heart feeling a little lighter. Further ahead, he found little frogs playing near a smaller pond. They hopped happily, splashing droplets of water like little stars. "Come play with us," they said. He tried to jump too, but his movements were different, and the little frogs laughed a little. The duckling lowered his eyes, not daring to stay there. "Maybe I really don't belong anywhere," he thought. But before he left, an older little frog spoke. "Don't be sad, little one. Sometimes difference is a hidden treasure." These words echoed in his heart. As night fell, the sky filled with sleepy stars. The duckling lay down on the soft grass, gazing at the moonlight. He felt tired, but also hopeful. There was something inside him that told him his story was just beginning. After a long walk, the gray duckling arrived at a place that seemed straight out of a dream. It was a hidden garden surrounded by trees with rounded leaves in shades of mint green and soft gold. Huge flowers, like colorful umbrellas, swayed slowly in the wind, and tiny firefly lights flickered like magic lanterns. The duckling, tired from the journey, took a deep breath. The air smelled of honey and lavender. "What an enchanted place," he whispered. As he explored the garden, he found little bunnies playing among the flowers. They laughed and ran, leaving trails of petals on the ground. The duckling approached timidly. "Can I play with you?" he asked hopefully. The bunnies watched him. Some smiled, but others wrinkled their noses. "You don't look like one of us. You're too big to hide among the flowers." The duckling lowered his wings, saddened. Once again, he didn't fit in. Then one of the sweetest little bunnies approached and said, "Don't listen to what they say. You have a special sparkle in your eyes. I bet you'll discover how unique you are." These words were like a hug to the duckling's heart. He smiled, though shyly, and thanked her. That night, he slept in the hidden garden, lying on petals as soft as pillows. He dreamed of a place where he wouldn't be compared, but celebrated, a home that was still waiting for him. After leaving the hidden garden, the gray duckling continued on until he found a pond unlike any he had ever seen. It was calm, round as a cup, and its surface reflected the night sky so perfectly it seemed like a magic mirror. The full moon shone softly, its silvery light mingling with the stars, creating patterns on the water. Fascinated, the duckling approached the shore and gazed at his reflection. There he was, his gray feathers, his body different from the other ducklings. But around his image, the pond cast a delicate glow, almost as if the moon itself were embracing him. "Am I really that strange?" he murmured softly. Suddenly, the wind blew over the water, rippling the surface. For a few moments, his reflection transformed. In place of the small duckling, he saw the elegant shadow of a larger bird, its wings spread and full of light. Startled, he blinked, and the image vanished. All that remained was his duckling body. What was that? A dream? A promise? He asked himself, his heart pounding. As he thought, he heard the croaking of a nearby frog. "The moon lake shows not who you are now, but who you can become." The duckling fell silent, trying to understand. His heart, which had once been sad, now held a spark of hope. Perhaps the world had something much greater in store for him. That night, he fell asleep near the lake, feeling, for the first time, less alone. The morning dawned softly, tinged with shades of pink and gold, when the gray duckling awoke on the shores of Moon Lake. The dew glistened like tiny diamonds on the grass, and the wind carried a calm melody, as if the whole world were at peace. Suddenly, he heard a different sound, a wide, elegant beating of wings. He looked up at the sky and was enchanted. Large white birds with long necks and feathers that glistened like snow in the sun flew in formation across the horizon. They were swans. The duckling watched with open mouth, fascinated by their beauty. They seemed made of clouds, so graceful, so free, he thought. The swans slowly approached the lake, landing gently on the water. Their reflection illuminated the surface as if they were creatures from dreams. The great duckling became shy, hiding among the reeds. "They'll never accept me. I'm so different, so small." But to his surprise, one of the swans looked in his direction and smiled. "Hello, little traveler. What are you doing all alone here?" The duckling, embarrassed, replied, I don't have a place. No one thinks I'm pretty or like them. I'm just different." The swans exchanged serene glances. One of them approached and said, "Different isn't a bad thing. Sometimes it's just the beginning of a transformation." The words stuck in the duckling's heart. He couldn't explain it, but he felt welcomed in a way he had never experienced before. That afternoon, the little duckling swam near the swans, and even though he was smaller and gray, he didn't feel rejected. For the first time, he was among beings who made him feel like there might be a place for him. Winter arrived gently. Snowflakes fell like silver feathers, covering the field and the lake with a soft, shimmering blanket. The gray duckling resisted the cold, sheltering among the reeds and finding strength in the warmth of the hope he held in his heart. When spring returned, bringing colorful flowers and the joyful songs of birds, the duckling was no longer so small. His feathers had changed, and his body seemed more elegant, but he hadn't yet realized the transformation taking place. One day, as he approached the lake shore, he saw his reflection in the crystal clear water again. But this time, he no longer saw the gray duckling he had seen before. In its place was a majestic white swan, with large, shining wings as if made of pure light. Startled, he looked at the water, blinking several times until he realized the reflection was indeed his. Is it me?" he whispered, his eyes filled with emotion. At that moment, the swan he had known returned to the lake and surrounded him tenderly. "You were never ugly, little one. You just hadn't grown enough to reveal your true beauty." His heart filled with joy and relief. For the first time, he felt complete, accepted, and happy with who he truly was. The wildflowers opened as if applauding, the fireflies lit their little lights, and the wind carried a gentle whisper. Every being has its time to bloom. And so, the duckling who had once felt alone and different discovered that he had always been a swan, a graceful, unique, and enchanted creature. In that magical lake, he found not only his true form, but also his home.